So I think most of the people here know the problem, but I'll go really quick about, like I said in the previous session, I started working on ODL a few months ago, and then I encountered some issues when planning, testing, and working with NetWirt code, so just using ODL today. So I'll give an example from my end. So if when using OpenStack and OpenDaylight with DevStack, if DevStack is failing to load, it's very hard to understand what is the problem. And for example, if there's a regression in OpenFlow plugin, it takes a long time to understand and as a result to fix it. So
understanding in this way is like to troubleshoot and realize that it's OpenFlow, or once you get the fact that it's OpenFlow plugin to reach the OpenFlow and tell there is a problem?
If I had a way to see that now OpenFlow is experiencing issues, maybe I can check and see if it's related to me.
It takes some time to debug and troubleshoot until you get to the conclusion that this or that.
It's my next step. So this is the problem. It causes longer regressions, harder analysis, frustration. Okay, so that's why we gain from a solution some kind of dashboard. So what I was thinking that each project should, if they have a job like this, or to create one with one simple sanity test. Okay. And so, for example, NetWirt like load DevStack, create 2 VMs, and then ping. Then if we can create a dashboard that is all of the OpenDaylight projects and the sanity job status. And also we'll have to mark the dependencies between the projects, because if I'm a new developer in NetWirt and my project DevStack is failing, I not necessarily know which project I am dependent on. Okay, so.
Now this is a good idea. One of the things we need for sure, Diego, we can discuss this later in the integration, is, and that's not that difficult to do, is we need to mark those that are bugs. Like something happened, we had today this thing that something happened because a bug, we mark it in a way that you saw the bug, but there is no label to eventually, when you run the test in automation, to discard this. And the reason is because this one, and some other things that I have in mind require totally green pass. Otherwise you don't have visibility. So you need a green pass for when you have bugs, you need a green pass. Otherwise, things like this will not work, because people, when they see some red, they can say, oh, this is red, maybe something is broken, right? It's not broken, it's just you have a bug, and then it's not fixed yet. But that doesn't seem to... And there is another scenario, I don't remember now, I think it's for downstream consumption, that they want to have understanding when we release something daily or weekly, if it is passing the smoke test or the sanity test. But if today the sanity or the smoke is producing failure because there are ongoing bugs, it doesn't help very much.
So I just think that we need to create something very simple, you know. If a certain project has one, great. If not, create the simplest test. And then even if there is a bug, it's okay that it will be red until it gets fixed, because it's so basic.
Most of the bugs we are reporting today are okay, because otherwise it will be blockers or thing, and then people will be work on that. But for the, when we do some tests and then we realize something is broken, sometimes it's not a priority because it's not that critical, and then that takes some time to be fixed. So then you see the full test result, like, you know, something is fading red or something, or yellow. And this is the kind of thing that is good for tracking, but in general, when something is using like sanity tests, it doesn't help. So we need to do something about that. And it's not that difficult, you need to label.
Or every project needs to create a sanity test.
Yes, and that is also needed for going forward for the merge. Like when we merge something and then we need to do some tests, it should be a fast sanity test, not like 1 hour test, very quick.
So one robot test that finishes within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then every project has to give that. That could be a new requirement.
Yeah.
And then that runs on every like auto release, and it better be all blue.
We need to.
But I don't know why it has to be short. It has to be very simple, but it doesn't necessarily have to be short.
I mean, some of them
because we want to put it on. If it's short, we can tell people that has to be part of their Garrett now.
I understand.
And I guess that's getting at the same thing, but Luis sort of answered that, but not in such a clear way, around, there's a previous objective around wanting once we merge a patch, to be able to run a really quick test.
Yes.
Like that's a sort of a different thing that we've been hoping to get for a long time. So if we did this, then we did the same.
Yeah, it's exactly. I see the connection between this idea and also getting a fast and also very, very.
But you also want a dashboard.
Yeah, because
Well, and if I could tie that into another, just continuing to tie this into other things. Again, Luis touched on this, but the downstream consumers of OpenDaylight, those fee that pulls us very regularly, continuous delivery type way, they need / have been asking for a long time for a way to quickly come and look at a recent release of OpenDaylight and see the test results for that, and basically assert whether the parts of OpenDaylight that they care about are okay or not okay.
Exactly.
And right now you can do that, like that information is there, but you have to know a whole lot of things about our Jenkins and how jobs are connected and like dig through a bunch of test results.
What do you mean by the information is there? Now when I go to a certain project that I don't know, I see a list of jobs, okay, some green, some red, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the information is there if you know enough about these jobs and stuff. But
yeah, but I don't think even, I don't know, if I take NetVid for example, if something is red, I have no idea why. I need to analyze the report to see if it's a known bug, if it's a new bug, if it's an imported one.
Yeah. Well, the idea, the claim is that everything should be blue all the time, or it should be linked to a known bug. Like that's the thing we push for a lot and more.
Actually, maybe we can leave that for now. I'm thinking I'll do the dashboard logic to say, okay, if this bug is okay, so I show green. Even if the job is red or yellow, the dashboard will show green as long as the bug
There's a hard bug.
I mean, at least a clear way to say this is good or there is no problem, versus maybe there is a regression issue.
Yeah. Jim, a question for you. How did we do, I guess, with regard to getting all blue all the time or things like the bugs?
At the release reviews, everybody was either not up to snuff and they got marked experimental, or the ones that didn't. I mean, everywhere. Not everybody did it great.
So there's still a lot of red jobs that don't have bugs.
Yeah, we hold them accountable now, that's all. They didn't really change.
I think if you have a basic job and an advanced job, so like a sanity
Exactly.
job, it'll be easier to see if these projects have a basic sanity, but their advanced use cases aren't.
Exactly.
Like we did with clustering and non-clustering.
I mean, maybe the sanity job, it should include test cases that are bugs that are not priority, right? For instance, and that kind of things, maybe.
And
So
those
that way
are
we'll
never-
get green.
Yeah.
So they always look.
Yeah, because I think if you find the simplest scenario, even if there is a bug, it's okay that it's red. Like you can't leave any room for bugs that are not that important to make this job fail. It has to be the simplest scenario, just to know that everything is working approximately all right.
Yeah, General, take all the infrastructure issues we had. I mean, this sanity test would have failed half the time, and we didn't even need to debug any bugs because we would know it just doesn't load. Very basic test.
Yeah, no, the idea is clear.
No, there's not a lot of stuff to look at.
Exactly, and also for someone, like I said, that is new to OpenDaylight, if in the dashboard the project that he is depending on and he doesn't even know will be marked, so he will know where to look. So, like if DevStack is failing and I don't know which project I'm dependent on, if I'll go to the dashboard and it will be labeled somehow, so I know if there is maybe a reason for my failure that is not NetVid.
Yeah,
So this is another thing that is very important.
So I think this is all very doable.
Yeah,
It's not so hard to define new jobs with existing robot logic. We can create, say, new jobs.
We can even use the existing jobs with tags and say
Yeah.
smoke.
Some work needs to be done though, because the system just some of them are wrong anyway. So we need to go through them. If someone is already short, it's just a matter to change labels or add labels. But if it is already very long, and not all the test cases are critical, and some of them are corner cases that we have also in these jobs, but maybe some pruning.
Yeah, I think.
So it's a really sanity test.
So, and I'll bring this into another discussion. In the release talk or whatever that we had an hour or two ago, one of the things that I was trying to push for was having stricter release requirements for non-leaf projects, for projects that have downstreams, and easier release requirements for leaf projects that are just like academics who don't give a shit most of the time and they have to look up a few times a year to send off some release milestones or something. So if we did that, we could, if we move in that direction, we could say, hey, kernel RG and apps RG and proto RG, you have to, or not apps, sorry, kernel and proto RGs, you have to do this sanity check. Like this is a new test requirement. You have to submit some subset of your tests that run within some fixed amount of time and is labeled some set of labels, and we will include that in the dashboard, and you will be shamed if your stuff is red, something's been fixed, and also we can put downstream with that.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I'm getting to. So now I don't know who to blame and like who to turn to when we have a problem. So I think this will definitely solve this issue.
Well, that's very doable.
You need people to give a sanity test, and you need people to write a dashboard.
But
And where are these people?
like we can write to each project, okay, like maybe start from a few projects like NetVid and whatever, and then when you say we're building a dashboard, these projects are attending, everyone will want to join, and you know we're not asking for something that is
I
difficult.
think the test body is more or less easy, as you said, but the dashboard, we never figured out well how to do that.
Real people.
Yeah, the problem is that we never had anyone to actually own that task and do it. That's always the thing to keep in mind about all of this, is that everybody in the conversation is already maximally subscribed. So
Yeah.
basically it has to be new people to come work.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have some current visibility of like the project dependencies or something? Like something we can just connect test results to? Because that's probably something that someone already did somewhere.
What, project dependencies, we have that.
Sort of
And then maybe we
information.
can connect like each project tries to look for a CFIT stable test. If it doesn't exist, then it writes there's no test. If it's blue or red, it writes the color. Maybe we can connect to some ongoing effort.
So you're saying organize this dashboard in terms of dependencies, basically? Like the dashboard should be structured such that it's easy to figure out dependencies?
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a suggestion.
No, it's
Yeah,
a good.
sure, that makes sense.
That would be cool.
So I think if we'll get the sanity test from each project or for a bunch of projects to start with, I think we can manage with the dashboard
Yeah, so
side
if we
context.
focus on this sort of more core projects, that would be the kernel projects, which is like a dozen, 10 projects maybe, and then proto projects, which is maybe 10 or so.
No, actually you are right. Probably we should
That's
target
awesome.
for sanity check. The most interesting is Astrid, so kernel and the plugins. Those ones to start with, and then let's see later. And yeah, I mean, first of all, the test I think is very feasible, and then after we'll see how we can put the
There's
results. on
nobody
that.
gonna do the dashboard.
Yeah, that has been always a problem. That's why
Somebody
unless we
step
have
up.
someone to work on that.
So I
release-
think if we'll get the sanity test, I think we can do it inside
there
the.
you
He'll give you one for OpenFlow, I'll give you one for
Exactly.
Network, and so I'll do
Yeah,
one
and
for
some-
controller.
Branko
And
can
some,
do a few
and I think
controllers
some
as well.
project probably has sanity test. Maybe it's part of the existing job or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't
it
think
is.
it's supposed to be that
It's
hard.
just cutting one of the jobs we
Yeah.
have to like just load it and do a basic test.
Yeah.
But I think how we get the test, the resources or whatever, is that we make it a release requirement in this new type of release plan for
Oh.
stricter projects.
Yeah, that's a great
Is
idea.
it
Yeah,
too late?
requirement of sanity.
No.
No, why?
It's not too late for
The
carbon.
TSC has provisionally approved a boron-like release plan for carbon so that the
Can we
times,
make it a
so that
hard
the times are in
requirement?
place.
Like you literally have to do this or you're not in the release?
I think we
Why?
should for
I
For
think
certain-
you can do it and
Certain
then
project you cannot remove them if they don't do this. So
projects that trust
true.
themselves
Some of
can
these we
say
really
our
can't
full
remove.
CSIT.
it's not like you can use like a
Yeah, they can.
still
If that doesn't pass, it's their problem, but they have the option to do like a minimal test. Everyone has CSIT now, right? It's a
I mean,
requirement.
yeah, it's not, for projects that have good tests, like OpenFlow plugin, they can go to an existing suite and add 5 tags to 5 test cases.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
And
easy.
they're done. It's like
Yeah,
5
That's
lines.
good enough.
It's like, USC, if they decide they're not gonna give us a sanity test in this release review, and I'm like, call and kick them out of the release, is that gonna happen?
No, but I think you don't need sanity for all the projects, not for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that we gotta start small. We gotta pick a subset of projects who are very mature and will do this.
Yes.
And then we can have other projects like Network, that's offset 2 or apps project that is not sort of included in the discussion we've had so far around picking a core group. But if they want to opt in because we have relevant
Exactly,
people who
because they like
care,
the idea.
they're more than happy to opt. We can take them and they can opt in. But I think we should start with a stick for a small group of projects.
Yes.
Give the example of USC, but right now, isn't there the experimental tag? Exactly the same thing. If they didn't pass CSIT, you would mark them experimental.
Yeah.
It's the same.
It's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but anyway.
I mean, we give them like an opportunity to do a smaller test suite and be marked as sanity.
Yeah, but if they don't have sanity test, it doesn't mean necessarily that they are not
But they have some tests. So
Well,
if
to
they,
be with
if they choose
you-
to define all their tests as sanity.
If you do the sanity test and you don't have that before and you're having experimental because of that, obviously, the moment you do the sanity test, you could be removing your experimental because you have some tests.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, probably if you had to.
But then it's case by case because if people are doing very super basic at rest call and then everything is okay, well, that's not really maybe.
Yeah, you're right. It shouldn't override like the,
Yeah, we need to see
the
the case by case.
experimental
But in
tag.
a normal situation, yes, if you write a sanity test that is a good sanity test, you remove your experimental feature.
It'll give you a little more feedback about what the state is.
Right, today experimental is, we are not requiring nothing fancy, it's only some kind of sanity test, right? This is what we think we are doing.
Yeah, it's really, do they have tests and are they passing?
Exactly.
And they look at the tests.
And then you do the test in the test to see, okay, this is just one test case, what is this, or this is okay.
But I didn't, I mean, if a test suite had like 15 test cases, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna look at every single one.
Oh, no, you cannot. Right?
By the way, on the view of the dashboard, if we could see easily like each project, how their sanity tests are doing, how their CSIT, and how their CSIT with clustering is doing. Those are the major things that each project has.
Yeah.
Will give us a nice.
So you volunteering to work on the dashboard? So many feature requests.
Happy. We just need to learn how to do UI.
So the dashboard has two things, is the work on the dashboard that has been already discussion, but also some alignment, because I also see that now we have 2 or 3 people doing dashboarding or start to doing this thing. And if everyone is gonna come up with their own solution,
There's a
There's a call.
spectrometer, DDF.
Oh yeah, you mentioned
yeah.
that.
And they're gonna talk about
The-
trying to unify.
When is it?
The goal is to do
When is it?
all of it.
Tomorrow morning.
Spoiler alert, the goal is to do all of it under spectrometer.
Parallel to
But it's good that we
Gemma
had this
session?
discussion in advance, I think, because we kind of have a request from a test standpoint about what we want.
what do you want
We'll
exactly?
find
We're not gonna get it, I'm telling you. We're gonna ask them and we're gonna say, this is what we want, and we're gonna say, okay.
No, I tell you, just spectrometer looks horrible right now. So
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of work cut out already.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Spectrometer is not gonna do this work for us.
You don't think,
If we don't
I
think
they can
there's-
collect, it's not so hard to collect, to scrape Jenkins for some specific test and then aggregate them into a UI. Like
Yeah.
if there's anyone working on spectrometer, that's not so crazy to ask for.
Yeah.
If we sell them the like the visibility of dependencies and stuff like that, like without the results, that's like a nice feature they want anyways, and then we just slap results on it.
So I have to say there is a person, Rahid, intern, that he has been working for a while on actually pull information from the test, whatever it is, it's a performance, or it's just pass or not pass, and then try to get this into a database. And I think so far he's working 2 things I know. One is a plugin in, that was also Marcus, kind of plugin in Robot, but also in Jenkins. Last I heard that he's also doing something in Jenkins to inject the results. So we should probably talk to him.
But he's an intern, he's gonna be gone.
I don't know. Or maybe hand over this work to someone in spectrometer, I don't know.
And spectrometer is ton.
Well,
There's already like maximally subscribed.
That's just like a hobby for him.
So basically, I mean, as we say before, we can't really request things without having people to do it. We have ideas of what we want from
well, let's
spectrometer.
understand then who is available first. I don't
The
know.
test part, I'm more than happy to help do all
Yeah,
that.
test is not.
Yeah, it's a
But
good
I don't know.
beginning.
Yeah, the
UI.
visibility.
You said that you maybe have
Yeah,
something
I
to
think
work on
I think we
this.
can find. We have something similar from previous project, and I think if we won't find someone from spectrometer to
Yeah.
help us.
It's always good to kick something off, you know. Maybe
Yeah.
next time there will be an intern for it.
And
Definitely we can hire into.
And sanity tests are a good idea, even if we won't have the dashboard.
Yeah,
It
we-
will be, so you will go to the specific project in Jenkins and you will see the sanity job failing, but we'll create the dashboard
Yeah,
We
anyway.
have the distribution.
Connecting to all the gating talks we had, we
Yeah.
will have the option to
Yeah.
gate on sanity or gate on a full CSNT run.
Yeah, someone
Choices.
said it.
We have the distribution test job that runs a bunch of CSIT. So we can create a new one called distribution sanity test. And that one better be all with that every day.
Yeah.
It'll be shorter.
And it runs on auto release.
And yeah, we created a job for you to see the commits from all repositories.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I did it with.
So the idea was two distributions, and they got timestamps when they're created and posted in Nexus. So we want some automation to tell us every Garrett patch that was merged in that window from every project.
Yeah, so we created a job at our Jenkins today in the morning. So
Does it work?
yeah, and it works great. I'll show it to you, and then maybe we'll add some
upstream.
improvement and we'll upstream
It
it.
shows all the changes between one
Yeah,
and
I
one.
did it with
I would like to
Gal
see
this
that.
morning.
But
Yeah.
this is using
Like the
my-
reverter, I told Gemma about it, so we
Is
did
using
it.
by any chance the Maven plugin in Jenkins?
No, we did like Git log. You can.
Oh, it's a Git, okay, that's...
Yeah,
But
exactly.
what about because there is another thing. One thing is the time stamp or the time in Gerrit, when things happen in Gerrit, and then another thing is the time when the jobs run actually and do the verification. And there is sometimes the delay is quite huge.
Yeah, okay.
Because of the queue in Jenkins, right?
Yeah, but if we'll create the infra, then we can.
Yeah, no, but you don't care about
Be
that.
concerned.
You just care about the timestamps of the distributions,
Yeah, when they were built.
when they were put on Nexus. Because
Yeah,
the
even-
CSIT job,
Even that's some delay by this time, that is
when
very...
two CSIT jobs run, one passes, the next one fails, it's just what commits happen between those two.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the distribution test after.
Yeah, the only timing issue might be like between compiling and the time the jar is done, but
If you look at the start of the test, that's when.
And we can add those commands to the distribution jobs, the one that builds it, and it runs at the
The end and shows the
end.
diff, that'd be awesome.
And
Yeah.
keeps that as an artifact in the, it'll be in Nexus,
Yeah,
so
that's-
you just hook a text file.
and then you can move to when IT becomes something that's more the main line of projects. You can just go to an option if you got regression or revert and let the committer fix it on its own
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I think this is... Yeah.
and we're out of time.
This is you.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're out of time? Good
Okay.
lunch?
Thank you.
This is you. Now, I think it's for downstream consumption, that they want to have understanding when we release something
Those-
daily or weekly, if it is passing the smoke test or the sanity test, but if today the sanity or the smoke is producing failure because there are ongoing bugs, it doesn't help very much.
So I just think that we need to create something very simple, you know.
Simple, yeah.
If a certain project has one, great. If not, create the simplest test. And then even if there is a bug, it's okay that
It's okay,
it will
yeah.
be read until it gets
Most
fixed
of the
because
bugs
it's so
that we are
basic.
reporting today are okay because otherwise will be blockers or thing and then people will be work on that. But for that, when we do some tests and then we realize something is broken, sometimes it's not a priority because it's not that critical and then that takes some time to be fixed. So then you see the...
If they have a job like that or to create one with one simple sanity test,
Yeah, we need that
okay?
anyway.
And so, for example, NetVirt, like load dev stack, create two VMs, and then ping. Then if we can create a dashboard that is all of the OpenDaylight projects and the sanity job status.
Yep.
And also we'll have to mark the dependencies between the projects, because if I'm a new developer in NetVirt and my project dev stack is failing, I not necessarily know which project I am dependent on. Okay, so
Now this is a good idea.
so I think most of the people here know the problem, but I'll go really quick about, like I said in the previous session, I started working on ODL a few months ago, and then I encountered some issues when planning, testing, and working with NetVirt code, so just using ODL today. So I'll give an example from my end. So if when using OpenStack and OpenDaylight with DevStack, if DevStack is failing to load, it's very hard to understand what is the problem. And for example, if there's a regression in OpenFlow plugin, it takes a long time to understand. And
Other things we need for sure, Diego, we can discuss this later in the integration, is, and that's not that difficult to do, is we need to mark those that are bugs. Like something happened, we had today this thing that something happened because a bug, we mark it in a way that you show the bug, but there is no label to eventually, when you run the test in automation, to discard this. And the reason is because this one, and some other things that I have in mind require totally green pass, otherwise you don't have visibility. So if you need a green pass for,
Exactly.
even if you have bugs, you need a green pass. Otherwise, things like this will not work because people, when they see some red, they can say, oh, this is red, maybe something is broken, right? It's
Yeah.
not broken, it's just you have a bug and then it's not fixed yet. But that doesn't need to, and there is another scenario, remember.
as a result to fix it. So
So understanding this way is like to troubleshoot and realize that it's OpenFlow, or once you get the fact that it's OpenFlow plugin to reach the OpenFlow and tell there is a problem?
If I had a way to see that now OpenFlow is experiencing issues, maybe I can check and see if it's related to me.
It takes some time to debug and troubleshoot until you get to the conclusion
Yeah,
that this or that.
it's my next step. So this is the problem. It causes longer regressions, harder analysis, frustration.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that's why we gain from a solution of some kind of dashboard. So what I was thinking that each project should